This is AC Starlord, aka Austin. Welcome back to my channel. And this video is about episode 7 of Welcome to Derry, but also there is 6. I did 1 through 5. 6, you find out that Lily finds out that Pennywise has a daughter, and the daughter's been her counselor. She was freaked out about that. And then the other kids go to the black spot, have a good old time. And the little Mexican kid plays the drums, and then we lead up to 7, where and we'll lead up to 6, where they are hiding out. Also, the guy that accused of killing children at the movie theater, that was also one of the little girls' father. Also, the guy's dating Pennywise's daughter, just the black guy, and then all the white people that are not so nice to black people want to get rid of this guy. Now leads into the black spot where they are hiding him out and having a good time. And then we find that they go there to, at the end of 6, go there to harass them. And then that's where it leads up to 7. They go to harass them with guns, and they have guns like, hey, we have the same thing. We have guns. And then they lock them in and burn them in the black spot. And Pennywise, this image of Pennywise right behind me, couldn't resist, obviously, and that's why Pennywise's daughter was there. And a straight massacre of fear and just fear of like the black people being burned alive, the white people being afraid that they won't get they get the guy they want, so they flame it up, and then you have the black guy that the military can see that's in The Shining. You see dead people, he sees Pennywise, but also the girl sees Pennywise. Like he says, "What do I have face? Do I have what do I have face on my face?" And then he's there and he taunts the guy that can see him. I think Dick is his name. He taunts Dick and he sees all these other dead people. And then while that's happening, all this other stuff is happening where everyone's trying to survive the black spot, and you have the girl with the eye patch confessing her love to the Mexican kid, and he dies to sacrifice her. And Pennywise's daughter sees Pennywise and says, "Come to Pop." She says, "Come here, Papa." And then he, as Pennywise, being Pennywise, saying, "Oh, Papa, show Papa the bow." And then like he acts like not like her father. She really notices it because he's like, I'm sleepy. I'm gonna hibernate. I always come back. I'll come back. I always come back." And then before that, he kills his her. He kills her husband with his own butcher knife, and he start eating his brains out. So after he chops up the head, and it's very graphic and bloody and gruesome. This whole episode. Before all this starts, the fire and all the stuff behind me starts with Pennywise. Pennywise was just a regular, simple man named Bill. Puts on a same makeup as he has as Pennywise. Um, Entertain kids with a show. He calls himself Pennywise the Dancing Clown, which he always does from the first 2 movies. But you see a backstory where he makes this little kiddie show for children. Kids laugh and have fun. And then he shows a tragic way of his wife being dead by her having her old clown costume on a string and having his daughter work it and do the sound effects. And the daughter makes her own costume, and he's like, she tells Papa, "Do you like it? I love it. Maybe we can put in a show one day, Pennywise and Periwinkle show." She's like, "But that's Mama's name." "Well, you can change it if you want to." "No, I love it." And then he's like, "One day, this little small town circus, man, this little circus we're in ain't gonna last, ain't gonna last forever. But one day the big circus will be calling my name. And of course, that never happens because he meets a little kid. That's it. This kid sees him from a distance. And of course, it's before the events before the 60s, of course, but of racism and all the stuff that's happening in this episode. Um, he tells him, "My mom, that's my mom. I lost my mom." And he hears the mom screaming, but the kid kills him, and he takes the image of Pennywise. And there we are at the black spot, him terrorizing people because he can't resist the blood and everything like that, and the gore. The main frightening thing in this episode is racism. The white people don't like this one guy because he killed children, but also he's a black guy. And of course, Derry back then was supposedly supposed to be different from every other American town, but there's still racism. Black people just try to have fun and have a good time. And then all the children were, well, all the children, so Lily was there. Lily still has the chard, the little Indian, the little thing for the Indian chard, and then they digged up another chard and they burnt, the military burns it, but the black guy, the main kid in here, says, "You guys are crazy. Why you guys think you guys can hone this fear, hone the fear, weaponize it, weaponize Pennywise and terrorize a town, America with this weapon, and you can't. And try to use him as a weapon, you can't use it." And then they finally tell Lily about everything. The rest of the losers club tells Lily about everything, and also about the other loser that they lost. They gather his things in the clubhouse, and then the other kid from the loser club, the one kid, can't leave because the mom doesn't want him to leave. And once they burn that chart, that big giant shard that was in shard in the turtle shell, Pennywise gets wakened from his slumber that he was about to slumber for 27 years and goes to that kid's house. He calls him and he says, "I can't hear you." And he's on top of his fridge, all bloody, with only just his white face on top, but all bloody. He was napping in a tub of mud, a tub of blood with bodies, and that's kind of where it ends. They kind of show that he goes missing. Willow goes, and his name is Will. Willow goes missing, and those kids have names. I just forget their names, but Willow goes missing, and then they show that Pennywise is going to cause havoc in episode 8. This episode was fantastic. You have the one front, you have the white people trying to get what they want. Of the white people getting the guy, trying to get the guy they want that supposedly murdered some kids in the movie theater. They're not getting it, but they're afraid of these. They're afraid of the airmen that are black because it's straight racism. They're trying to put on these masks, Halloween masks, because it's a horror show. They have classic monsters like the Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman, disguise their faces, but also they forget that these are military guys. They have guns. They're not afraid of these guys. But the only thing they're also afraid by throwing these cocktails. They're afraid, but they also want what they want, and they want to get this guy so they want to get what they want, but they can't. But they're afraid anyways, regardless what these people might do to them. So that's why they put fire in there. And then you have Pennywise feeding off of both sides' fear and the people dying and all some of that, and that brings out Pennywise. That brings Pennywise out. And yeah, Pennywise had a big giant part of this episode. His origin story in the beginning and then a big part in the middle of this. What was really frightening is him coming up on this kid behind him, coming up behind Will. and scaring him looking into the bright his little bright lights then when he opens his mouth. And then he does something to his daughter. He eats his daughter's soul, and his daughter is now like paralyzed or something like that. So he does something to his daughter, or his former daughter was, but like you get my point. Um, Centric of this episode ending up at the beginning, somewhere in the beginning with Pennywise in the sewer. Now you have Pennywise main front in this in the fire with a whole bunch of dead people, and then the Dick that's struggling, seeing dead people, also sees Pennywise and terrifies him because he knows he can see him and wants to shrink that fear. And here's the thing, the episode 8 is going to be probably a lot with Pennywise. And I know they had to settle up the show to show fear and some of that, the first five, but you guys could have showed more Pennywise. Now, I know that this episode 7 and then episode 8 is showing Pennywise, but they should have shown Pennywise because Pennywise is very terrifying in the show. I love it because he's more terrifying in the show than he ever is in the movies. Even the TV movie with Tim Curry, like it's just this Pennywise with Bill Bill Skarsgård, Bill Skarsgård. Hold on, sorry, I'm saying his name wrong. Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise. He's fantastic. He knows how to play it very good, and Dick Holland or Handlin is the guy he's terrorizing. And then General Shaw wants to take over, takes that shard and burn it. And this it's just a fantastic show with the cast William and then Rich. His name, the kid that died for um that girl he loves is Rich. And then you have the girl that dies then on this list. Well, I guess, and then Maggie. I think his name is Maggie, but I don't see her face. Yeah, Maggie. So it's a pretty cool show. I highly recommend checking it out. Again, but like it's awesome and I enjoyed it. I just don't think they should show more Pennywise, but hopefully they do a second season. They might show more Pennywise. But I guess I guess we have chapter one and chapter two, and then you have the TV series, and then you have this. So I guess we have a lot of ways to see Pennywise, but the show needs more Pennywise. But they did a very good job of showing fear throughout episode one, two, and three. Episode one, two, three, four, and five was showing little bits and pieces of Pennywise doing things behind the scenes. But this episode was just fantastic. Seeing him in the fire and then this little shadow behind him being in outside the place of the fire or inside the place with the fire, it's just fantastic. And then him on top of the fridge, um, scaring William was kind of cool and interesting. And then I don't know how he's there or how he knows to be there, but staying on this fridge like he's Spider-Man was pretty freaking fantastic. And the fact that he almost looked like Spider-Man without the blue was kind of interesting nonetheless. But good show so far. Good show so far. And I love it. Pennywise can't go wrong with Pennywise. Show more Pennywise, which can't go wrong. If you like this video, put a like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and deuces. I know it's not originally Christmas. I know this is not going to look we it's going to look weird when I post this. I know it's not Christmas content, but the rest of my time content's going to be Christmas. And that's true, but this came out during October to November to December, so it's finally coming to fruition to an end next Sunday. So yeah. So again, if you like this video, put a like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and deuces.